everyone, it's Abby from Pictour, and you read the title, so let's get started. Today, let's get some Universal Studios Japan or USJ tickets. So let's say you look up Universal Studios Japan. There it is. First step, you're going to go to their website. You're going to go down to tickets, and you're going to scroll down to official web ticket store. And that'll take you to this page, which if you want to go directly, it's just usjticketing.com. So you're welcome to do that as well. When you look at buying tickets for Universal Studios, you'll see there's quite a few different places to buy them from. And usually I advise with this and almost anything else going direct, at least first if you can. So the first place we're going to look before anywhere else is the official USJ website. And this is the authorized ticket reseller that they use for people that speak English. So the first thing we're going to need to think about when we get to buying tickets, how many days we want to spend inside the park. So you have three options. You have 1 day studio pass. You have a 2-day studio pass, which is 2 full days. And then you have the 1.5 day studio pass. And what this means is it's valid from 3 p.m. on the first day and then the full day the second day. So this 2-day and the 1.5 days is probably good if you're staying in Osaka or staying near Universal Studios itself. And by the way, they even have a hotel on site and a bunch of hotels nearby. So if that's a really important part of your trip, I would just stay close by to it. On their official website, as of, this is July, early July that I'm filming this, the expo in Osaka is still going on. So if you want to do both, you can actually buy them together here, the 1-day studio pass and the Expo 2025 Osaka admission ticket. You can buy both together. I'm just going to buy a 1-day studio pass to show you how to do that because that's what most people end up doing. Once you decide how many days you're going to spend in the park, you of course need to know how many people are going to be there. So let's say we have 2 adults and I'm going to magically give myself 2 children and note on children that's ages 4 to 11. And so let's say I have 2 children now, and then we're going to choose a date. So one thing to note about this immediately off the bat is they have different prices. They have dynamic pricing. So you can see here on July 10th, it's going to be cheaper than it's going to be on the 19th. And that's just because of usually how busy they're expecting the park to be. Is it going to be a holiday? Is it going to be summer vacation for kids in Japan? And that will determine the different pricing. So even going into August, when more people have holidays, it gets even a little bit more expensive. So usually what you would want to do is if you only want the studio pass and you don't want to buy express passes, you can just continue like this. But if you're interested in an express pass, then I'm going to show you what you should do instead. So you might be wondering, what is the advantage and disadvantage of buying the express passes? So let's look at those first. So I'm going to get rid of this and I'm going to go over to express passes, which is on the next page. So you have a lot of different options when you look at this. They have so many different express passes and they all have different names. So you can see, I'm going to go back to the top. The top one right now is the Universal Express Pass 7. And you can see this is more expensive. And the reason for that is it gives you time designated access to these 5 rides right here. And what that means is when you show up at the park, you will have already chosen, when you check out now, the time that you're going to go to these rides, and you just show up and within 5 to 15 minutes, you can get on that ride. You don't need to wait in the sometimes 2 to even 3-hour lines that they can have at the park. So that is incredibly convenient if you don't want to stand around all day, especially in the summer. And especially if you have little kids, I don't know if a 2 to 3-hour line is great for the average little kid. It's barely something I can do as an adult. So this is a great option. And the other advantage of this is that you get the area timed entry ticket to Nintendo World. So Nintendo World, you cannot just show up and go inside. When you go to Universal Studios Japan, you have to get some kind of area timed entry ticket for Nintendo World. So if you decide to not buy an express pass, if you just show up with a studio pass, what that means is when you arrive, you can go and try to enter a lottery in the application that I'll show you later. And you can possibly get entry to Nintendo World. But the problem with that is on most days, it's probably, if you do get the entry to it, it'll be like 7 to 8 hours later from when you entered. So when I've gone before with just a Studio Pass and I go in the app and I try to get the timed entry to Nintendo World, I am there at like 11 a.m. and I get the lottery and I'm like, yes. And then I look at it and the entry is for like 7:30 p.m. I would have to just dilly-dally until that time. And then that also kind of stinks because by that point, it would give me a limited amount of time in Nintendo World in the first place. With this Express Pass, that gives you automatic timed entry. And of course, there's more than one pass. And what you're going to want to do with this is you're going to want to use those reading comprehension skills that you got in elementary school, and you're going to look at each of the attractions that each of these gives you and see which ones you actually care about. So if you go to this pass right here, and it has Yoshi's Adventure, that's great because it gives you, of course, area timed entry to Nintendo World. So that's you're already in at a certain time. But it does give you Doraemon 4D attraction ride right here. And if you don't care about Doraemon, maybe that's not the one for you. Maybe you should keep looking. So they have all different packs, like for kids that like Minions. They have the Halloween set right here, which gives you entry to those. So you just need to read, use those skills, and then of course you'll see the price changes depending on the pass, because some of them include that timed entry to Nintendo World, and of course some of them do not. If you click on something like this, it only has Harry Potter and Spy Family. Neither of those are located in Nintendo World, and there's no automatic entry into Nintendo World for that because those aren't inside the park, so you don't need to go in there. All of that to say, most people tend to get this Universal Express Pass 7 because this is going to get you into pretty much everything that's popular and everything that has those really long lines in the first place. So you will be in and out way before everyone that just showed up with the Studio Pass. So let's say I want to get 4 of these. And the reason I skipped the tickets first is because finally I can check the date and see when it's available before I put that in. So then I would have to go back and forth and back and forth. Now I can just go see the days it's available. Okay, all of this in August is available. So I know if I choose this, I can go back and get the tickets. But let's say I was like, I'm gonna be here next week in July. There's nothing, it's already sold out. So when you know you're gonna want the Express Pass, you are definitely going to want to book the month before at least. So let's walk through it from the beginning. So let's say I'm going next month. I'm gonna go back here to the front page. There's 2 adults, 2 kids. We're gonna select our date. So I know that this is already no Express Pass available, so we can skip that. So we're going August, I don't know. Let's go this August 7th. All right, so we're gonna add that to cart first. And if I wanted to just skip to the end with only the Studio Pass, I could do that. But I want the Express Passes because I want to skip the lines. So now we're going to get 4 of these. We're going to select the date and we're going to pray that it's open. Okay, good. So we can do that. That adds additional cost. And then we get to this page. What is this? This is the timed entry to each place into each ride. Please read this carefully. Please don't just choose whatever, because this will be the time that you need to show up to each place. So you're going to need to think carefully about what time you can be at the park, what time you can really get into the park, and what time you want to leave the park. So let's look at the first option. We have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. You can show up at this time. They say this, but right now, as of July, you don't need to have special entry into Harry Potter World. You can just go in and out 5 million times as much as you want with just a Studio Pass. That's all you. So our first thing we really have to show up to at a certain time would be Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. And we have between 11 and 11:30 to show up into that line and get on that ride, basically. So we would have this, and then next, right after that, we would go over to Flight of the Hippogriff. We would enjoy that. But then we also want to go to Super Nintendo World. So we would have to show up to Super Nintendo World between 7 and 8 to get that timed entry. That's a long time after Harry Potter World. That is 7 hours later. So if you don't want to just waste your time for 7 hours, you are gonna not want to choose this one. Another thing I should point out is that although it says area entry between 7 and 8, your first ride's at between 7 and 7:30. So please don't show up at, 7:59 p.m. and completely miss this ride, because that would be over. So get there ASAP, basically. So we're going to avoid that. And basically, you can just scroll through and see what actually makes sense. So you can see this is a little more close together, 2:20, and then Nintendo World at 5:40. That gives us time to do other stuff in the park between those times. That makes a little more sense. So just think carefully about what works for your schedule. And once you choose, let's say I want to do this one in the afternoon. Looks nice. Where we start with Super Nintendo World, and then we go over to Harry Potter in the evening. Looks nice. You can see the castle at night. Add to cart. And then next page. This is the final page where we can look at any other extras that we want to add on. So if you want to do the Universal VIP Experience Group Tour, where you go around Super Nintendo World, this is the place to book that. I am not going to book that. I'm going to continue to the next step. So let's double check everything that we did. We got 1 day studio pass. Everyone needs a studio pass to get into the park. We have 2 adults, 2 kids on August 7th, and looks good. And then our express pass, they won't let you choose a different day. It'll force you into this day anyway, so don't worry about that being wrong. 4 tickets for all 4 of us in our happy family. And you're going to choose, you only have 1 delivery method, which is email address. So it used to be that you could show up at the park and you could either buy your tickets there or you could pick your tickets up there. But none of this happens anymore. Everything is digital now. So everything will be sent to your email that you would possibly need. So let's go to checkout. USJ tickets are non-refundable and cannot be changed. So anywhere you buy Universal Studio tickets, they will not be refundable ever. They will always be non-refundable. That's what I'm trying to say here. So please read everything. I agree. You will fill out all the checkout information.
Hello, Editing Abby here. Realized I forgot to talk about what happens if your credit card is not accepted, because there is a problem sometimes with foreign credit cards and the official USJ website. What do you do? So the general advice is to A, make sure you check with your credit card company first that they are not trying to block this foreign transaction. B, you can actually email Universal Studios here at this email, and then you can ask them, please whitelist me and my credit card information that I will be giving you. And if you can't do that, Apple Pay tends to work if you go through Safari and use Apple Pay. And D, if none of that seems to work, then just maybe use a different website, and I will be talking about that right after this.
So once you finish, you will get the QR codes to your email, and you can have those on your phone. If you are just living in 1925, you can actually print those out and have those. Or if you just want it as a backup, I won't judge you, that's fine. But one thing I do highly, highly recommend is downloading the Universal Studios app. So I already have it on my phone. So let's show you how to use that. So the app itself is just called USJ. So you'll want to find that in your Google Play Store, your App Store, whatever it is that you use. And you will open the app, and immediately you'll see all the stuff they have going on right now. You can also check a lot of nice things like the wait times for stuff. So if we go into wait times, it will show me, wow, only 5-minute wait for Elmo's Little Drive. Thank God, that's where I'll be. And for all those super popular rides like Mario Kart Koopa's Challenge, we have a 140-minute wait right now. So that's long. Thankfully, we got those express passes, so we don't have to wait in that. You can also see this is where you can do area time entry ticket. So if you show up and you did not get an express pass that included Nintendo World area timed entry, this is where you can do the standby as well. So all you need to do is go here, and once you get into the park, That is the most important part. You can't do this in advance. You have to be inside the park already. You can go and enter the lottery for Super Nintendo World. And I can't do it because I'm not inside Universal Studios right now. I don't live at Universal Studios, unfortunately. And once you go into My Universal, you can also register your park passes here. So then you have everything in your phone, you have your QR code ready. Really just look thoroughly at this app because it has a lot of stuff that you can do that's really helpful. You can see even food in restaurants. You have a map so you can see where it is you need to go to. You have, of course, the Super Nintendo World special special application. So if you get the special bands that you wear on your wrist, not the Seiko watch, then special bands, you can use those here and then have a fun time in Nintendo World. It's a pretty thorough app. I've never had any problems with it. Works pretty consistently and really a great thing to have. So basically all you need to do after you buy your tickets is just show up to the park with some kind of QR code form, paper or phone, and hopefully the app, but you don't have to have it. And that's it. That'll get you right into the park. All right, so let me show you one more thing before we wrap this up. Let's say you want to go to Universal Studios like next week and you don't have tickets yet, you don't have express passes yet. What do? Let's go to Klook. So I get nothing by showing you Klook. I'm showing it to you because it could possibly help you. I get literally nothing from this. So we're at Klook. We have Universal Studios Japan Studio Pass. That's, of course, your base fare. You can also go to the Express Pass page, and that's where you will buy the Express Passes. So similar process, you just have to buy them separately. So if you really need the Express Passes, that's why you would probably be doing this. There's almost always studio passes available on the Universal Studios official website. It's the Express Passes that sell out very quickly. So when you go to Klook, you'll see that they have a lot of similar options when it comes to just choosing Express Pass 5 for Halloween Pass. And this is the one we were looking at on the official website, the Universal Express Pass 7 Variety Theater. So I will show you. Variety Theater, it's the same pass. So to check the prices, this one is around 35,800 yen per ticket. Here, it's similarly priced. Even on the official website, the pricing changes, so you're really not getting any kind of discount by going through Klook. Yeah, see, this is the same price, but you can see they have some availability that the official website did not have. So let's say there's 4 of us. Well, I can actually book it for next week. I can't book it for Thursday or Friday, but I can book it for Saturday next week. And I couldn't do that on the official website. So if you are in a bind and you really need those express passes, Klook might be the better option for that last minute purchase. The only thing I'll mention that Klook does have that I think is kind of maybe a better value option would be this right here, the Universal Express Pass 7, yada yada. But this package, if I can click on it, comes with something that every other option we've looked at so far does not come with. And that is this Donkey Kong Country Experience set, which comes with a hot dog and a DD power-up band, one of these each per person. So when you get this DD power-up band, normally you would just have to buy it inside the park. That would just cost you approximately this much extra. But if you get this special package that Klook has, that's already paired with it, and you just show up and you pick it up inside the park and it's already paid for. And so looking at the prices, it's actually probably a good deal. So if you really want the whole package deal with the bands and everything, maybe this is a good choice for you. But it does sell out a little faster. You can see more limited availability on this one. But then if you book for next month, you're good. After you buy those express passes on Klook, make sure you also have a studio pass from somewhere. Otherwise, you don't have your base fare to even get into the park. So a few final questions. Can I cancel or refund my ticket? No. Either way, nope. They're non-refundable and they cannot be changed. Can I show up on rainy days? Yes, you can. They will have information on the website in case of horrible, horrible weather about ride closings. So please just check that if you are here during a typhoon or something. But if it's just rainy, yes, they're still open. What is the best time to go to Universal Studios? So you actually have what's called a crowd calendar you can check online. Here's one you can check out where you can see predictions of how busy it will be, with this lighter color A being the least busy, and then of course down here, super dark being the busiest. This is not completely accurate, dare I say, because if you see like, Tuesday, July 1st, which says it was a B, which means it had light crowds. There is no way that light crowds is a good description for that day, because this park is always going to be crowded. You will not show up and have nobody inside the park. This will just give you an idea. Will it be busy? Will it be busier? Or going into when Halloween is, will it be pretty insane? Because I've been there at all times of the year, and I will tell you, Halloween's insane. But really, the best time is just a time you can go. I would say avoid weekends if possible. Check for Japanese holidays. Check when Japanese people would be there, because that will make it even busier. So if you can avoid those times, that'd be great. And avoiding weekends for the same reason. And going in the mornings is usually better, but it will not make it less busy, because everyone knows the old secret to show up early now. That's not really a secret anymore. Final notes. Try booking through the official website first, unless you really need that one package deal on Klook. And book in advance if possible. Book the month before, at least if you can. Book an express pass if you cannot wait in line. If you have little kids, or if it's going to be summer, or if you just aren't someone that likes to wait in line, it might be worth spending that extra money. And lastly, you don't need to get any kind of paper ticket or anything when you show up to Universal Studios now. Just have your QR code in some kind of format, preferably on your phone, just to make your life easier, and you'll just go right in. All right, that's it for this video. I'll have more information here, and if I forgot to say anything, it will be there as well. And let me know in the comments your favorite part of Universal Studios. Mine is definitely eating and the 3 broomsticks in Harry Potter World. I could spend hours and hours there just chilling, so let me know what you enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!